WT slaying.
Well, family, the wait is over. The moment has arrived where truth emerges triumphant from the shadows of history. Introducing the true Jerusalem, the lost kingdoms of the Israelites, the groundbreaking work by me, Jacoby Vale, a journey into the past that reshapes the future. I cut through centuries of misconceptions with piercing clarity. This book delivers a compelling case packed with evidence that commands attention and gonna get some respect. Come with me for a second, family, and discover how these thrilling civilizations flourished, protected by towering highlands and sustained by advanced engineering. Some have asked, where is Jerusalem? Is it the land in the Middle East? I say no. It is in the highlands of Ethiopia. With hours of groundbreaking research, this book brings in a new revelation, and it will transform your understanding of African history and its connections to the ancient world. It's going to remove from your mind the conditioning by the Romans of what has really happened to our past. Come with me, family, to the Ethiopian highlands and find out why this is our land. Why things have been hidden and obfuscated for centuries. We are royalty, children of the Most High. What kind of land do you expect us to have? Dried up dirt in the Middle East, or land flowing with rivers? A land full of beautiful animals flowing with milk and honey. Don't miss out on this monumental unveiling. Grab your copy today and stand on the side of truth. Visit Amazon.com or www.tailministries.com to purchase your book and join Jacoby Vale's teachings on Tail Ministries. Family, your journey to hidden history has now begun. So family, get your copy of True Jerusalem, the Lost Kingdoms of the Israelites today. Journey into the heart of Africa, where history and legend converge to reveal the forgotten kingdoms of the Israelites and the true location of Jerusalem. Family, how y'all doing today? Let me know if I sound okay. Give me a 1 if I sound okay. Give me a 2 if I'm not. All right, great. So fam, I want to thank y'all who purchased my book. It's doing very good on Amazon. And when you're finished reading it, if you can, go over there and give it a review. I'd appreciate it very much. And also, I want to ask, I have a question. So, y'all mad at Jacob or something? I'm just asking because I'm like almost no support in the last few weeks, right? I'm like, y'all mad at me or something? I'm just asking because I appreciate the support. For those who give support, because some people never support, but, I'll be trying to put in that work. You know what I'm saying? And today I'm going to put in some more work. And I appreciate if y'all stand by us because, like I say, we've never broken 1% support. And the last few weeks has been pretty low. I mean, almost none. right? So, if y'all love what we do here, I appreciate it and appreciate the support. So, before we get started, I want to throw something at y'all. And this isn't a prophecy thing, but I'm looking at all the stuff with the whole election, right, with Trump and everything. Some people scared, right? Some people don't give a crap like me. I don't care. I figure if the Democrats in office, we screwed, and if the Republicans in office, we're screwed. So I'm cool, right? I ain't nothing changed for me, right? But it's interesting. There was recently some information going out that them folks been sending letters to some of our people, at certain schools like in Michigan and things like that. And they're saying, are you ready for slavery? Just meet us January, I think it's January 6th or whatever. You're in group A, you're in group B. And, we're ready to put you back into slavery. Now, I'm not worried, right? I have no problem because guess what? They're going into captivity. Now, the interesting thing is, because, I be sitting here just looking at stuff and all them scriptures be running through my head, right? And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, yeah, it's about to be turned up. The heat's about to be turned up. The fire's about to get hot. But they're going into captivity. They don't realize it, right? They're going into captivity. But, what I think is happening is just my opinion. I told you, eat the meat, spit out the bones. And I'm not even really teaching about end times right now, but I felt I needed to talk about it. Is that it just seems to me Revelation 12 is here, right? The dragon was angry with the woman and chased the woman, right? So what does that mean when the dragon is chasing the woman? She's persecuting her, and the woman got to run for her life. Do y'all sense that? Yes or no? Give me yes or no. Do y'all sense that the woman might have to run for her life? I'm just asking. I mean, look, to me, it's like, remember I told y'all about the picture puzzle and how you put the pieces together so you can see the picture? I'm seeing the picture. I'm sorry. I'm seeing the picture. It looks like Israel about to be attacked again. Israel going to be on the run, but Israel also going to fight. Now, like I say, I ain't really want to go here, but I sort of have to. So I was doing some other research, and maybe I'll talk about it in another show. And basically, it's tied to the 400 years. It's tied to what the Most High said about us. And like, I'm serious. It's like all of this stuff is lining up right now. What I'm going to talk today isn't about prophecy, but it aligns with it in a way, right? And so I'm going to play this video from this sister, and I'm going to ask you all, before I play this video, right? This woman, I like let me play the video, and I'm going to ask you all the question after the video, because, I'm going to tell you now, some of my sisters ain't going to like it, right? Y'all know some of my sisters ain't going to like it, but I think she's spot on. And I'll ask the question afterwards. So hold on. All right. So let's get started, fam. Let's get started. All right, let me refresh this. TikTok be funny.
Like to watch my videos. I don't care if you scroll every time you see my face. You need to be here for this. And by the way, this came from my husband. When we get married, we become one, right? And we take the name of our husband. Taking the name of someone has a much deeper and spiritual meaning. We take their name because we are now their property and they are now owners, technically. That's also why in the book of Daniel, when they took him into captivity, into Babylon, what they do? They changed his name. They worshiped Baal, so they named him Baal-Tazar. Again, because they own him. And taking someone's name has a much deeper and spiritual meaning. Hold on.
Before I continue, fam. Do I sound okay? Give me one if I sound okay. Somebody said my mic isn't as good as the last one. So Give me one if I sound okay. Give me two if I don't. And I'm gonna start the video from the beginning again. Okay, I see one. So all right. Okay, great.
I don't care if you don't like to watch my videos. I don't care if you scroll every time you see my face. You need to be here for this. And by the way, this came from my husband. You know, when we get married, we become one, right? And we take the name of our husband. Taking the name of someone has a much deeper and spiritual meaning. We take their name because we are now their property and they are now owners, technically. That's also why in the book of Daniel, when they took him into captivity, into Babylon, what they do? They changed his name. They worshiped Baal, so they named him Baaltazar. Again, because they own him. And taking someone's name has a much deeper and spiritual meaning. Hold on. John 5:43. Yahusha, the Messiah, says,
Okay, all right. So somebody, let me start over again. Y'all got me messed up. Some say I'm okay. Some say I sound excellent. Some say I sound muffled. Some say there's no sound. I'm like, what is it? Am I good? If I'm good, say good. If I'm not, say not. Somebody said it's low. Okay, y'all got me confused now. I'm confused. I'm good. I'm not good. I'm low. I'm high. I'm too muffled. I don't. You are loud and clear. Okay, S. Dowdy, I'm gonna stick with you. You say I'm loud and clear. Everybody saying I'm good. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Let's start it over again.
I don't care if you don't like to watch my videos. I don't care if you scroll every time you see my face. You need to be here for this. And by the way, this came from my husband. You know, when we get married, we become one, right? And we take the name of our husband. Taking the name of someone has a much deeper and spiritual meaning. We take their name because we are now their property and they are now owners, technically. That's also why in the book of Daniel, when they took him into captivity, into Babylon, what they do? They changed his name. They worshiped Baal, so they named him Baaltazar. Again, because they own him. And taking someone's name has a much deeper and spiritual meaning. Hold on. John 5:43. Yahusha, the Messiah, says, I come in my Father's name and you receive me not. And he was right. They don't receive him. But that's neither here nor there this time. But the Father name is Yahuwah, or some say Yahweh. And the Son name is Yahusha, and some say Yahweh. Same people. We're just doing our best to bring it from Hebrew into the English language the best we can. Anywho, the Father name, Yahuwah, is in Yahusha. It's in the name Yahusha because he comes in his name because they are one. But Yahuwah is the owner, so that's why Yahusha has his name. Because again, when you take the name of someone, it is a much deeper and spiritual meaning. And the person named you to, that's who owns you. On the same page? Cool, come on. Now, when we got off them ships, came over here into slavery, right? We had names. And these people knew that they had to change our names, just like they had to change Daniel's name when he went into captivity back then, because they now own us. When we got off that ship, we were no Smith, no Johnson, Jones, Taylor, Smith, the little stuff. Go back and find those slave manifestos. A lot of our names had Yah in it, like our father. Remember he said he was like a husband to us? That's why his people was called Yasharal, because they had Yah in their name. And where we lived was Yarushalayim, because that's the place where he put his name on, according to scripture. So for them to successfully wipe out every memory of who we truly was, they had to remove our name and give us their names, because now they are our owners. They are our masters. And this is exactly why people cannot understand what these scriptures are saying, because they're still married to master. Anything that we say in regards to the truth, we're racist, or we just want to be special, a cult, all kind of little stuff. Now I want you to think about the character of a wife. I don't know about y'all, but if you ever want to be my enemy, come up against my husband and watch how I will never like you again. That's whose name I have taken, and I will defend him to the death. You have taken their names. You are yet in covenant with them. Therefore, you defend them to the death. And ain't nothing too much my husband could do. I mean, no matter what he do, that's my husband. Likewise with them. No matter what they do, them folks really is your husband. They're your Lord. They're your owners. They are still your masters. And that's why you can't hear Yah's voice until you divorce these people. So the true battle between the alleged African Americans right now is that some have divorced one master one husband and has been reconciled back to their old husband. And the other half of African Americans, they are just so loyal to their master, their husband. They don't care that he cheating. They don't care that he molests kids. They don't care that he ain't paying no bills and helping with his own children. No matter what he do, they loyal to master. So when you see black Christians and black Hebrew Israelites bickering back and forth, you defending your husband and I'm defending mine. Your diet, that blonde hair you love so much, where did that come from? The one name you have taken, your husband, your master. I eat clean because my husband and my master said that I should. That's his pride. I don't have blonde hair and other folks' hair in my head because he also said that I'm beautifully and wonderfully made. So why would I do that? Your husband, your master has taught you that his name don't matter. So that's what you rock with and that's what you defend because that's what master said. I know how he is. I myself used to be married to him. But my master said that his name is important. I ain't trying to mess that up. I'm trying to go home. I'm trying to get back in the house. I'm trying to be reconciled back to my actual husband, my true master. So when we looking at them scriptures and we're getting two different interpretations, it's because your interpretation came from your master and my interpretation came from mine. The crazy part about it, you don't even know who you're married to. You think we got the same master, but these are the master's words. He said, why do you call me master and you don't do nothing I say do? And that's how he knows that you don't truly belong to him, because he knows you're married to someone else by your actions. You keep going to these diddy parties like Easter, Christmas, Halloween. But his true bride in them tabernacles, keeping that Shabbat, Passover. But back to the name thing. Taking it back again. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. He want his people that are called by his name. He want them reconciled back unto him. And this is how you do so. Humble yourself, pray, seek his face, turn from your wicked ways. What you think is righteous don't mean nothing, because your righteousness is like filthy rags. But his righteousness is everlasting, and his righteousness is his law. The same law that your lying, cheating, low down, dirty husband that you're married to, your current husband, he told you it's done away with. Because he know if you get to being faithful, then you will be reconciled back to your true master, your true husband, the actual man with the plan. But if you stay married to this low down, dirty, lawless Negro, you will get the judgment he gets. But if you divorce your sex trafficker, repent, you can be reconciled to your true husband, the one whose kingdom is soon to come. Shalom.
All right, fam. So I like everything she said. Now, my question that I was going to ask. This is for my sisters only, not for the brothers. Because y'all the ones that's going to be giving me some heat if I do this. Do y'all want me to do a teaching on marriage and relationship between a husband and a wife? Yes or no? Because I'm going to tell you, it ain't going to be your typical teaching. Some of y'all ain't going to like it. Some of y'all going to be angry. Because some of y'all got to shake off them old ways of Babylon. So give me a yes or no if y'all want me to do that. Now, let's see. Okay, y'all not going to beat a brother up, though, right? Y'all not going to beat me up if you... Somebody said no. Somebody said no. They might be smart. All right, fam. So somebody say, sure, why not? Okay. Y'all funny, yeah. No, of course not. All right. Y'all gluttons for punishment. I know I'm gonna get some heat. I ain't gonna lie. Sister E gonna call me up. You Cobra? What you talking about this? Anyway, all right. So all right, so before I continue, I'm still seeing some people say I'm too deep, I'm too loud, I'm too this or whatever. I just want to make sure before I continue that everything okay. I try to adjust things as I can. I think it's okay. I mean, let's see here. It sounds okay to me, but I mean, I sound good on my end. I don't know about what y'all hearing. All right, so all right. All right. Some people say I'm fine. Okay. I see thumbs up. I see thumbs up. All right. Great, great, fam. So since y'all gluttons for punishment, especially my sisters, I'll be planning that show, right? I ain't saying I'm doing it today, but I'll be planning that show. So remember, still love me at the end, okay? Don't beat me up too bad because I'm going to go straight from scripture. But a lot of what we're taught today in terms of relationships between a man and a woman and stuff like that is not biblically accurate. And we'll talk about that. So what I'm going to talk about today, all of this stuff, because the Bible talks about symbols, right? And some of these symbols are cultural. And what I'm talking about today, I sort of talked about before, but not like this. And I'm coming at it from a different viewpoint, right? Which is why I said even when I was on Sister E's show the other day, a few days ago, I mentioned to one of the Christians, I said, the reason why we disagree is because y'all don't understand the covenant. Right? I say Christians don't understand the covenant. They don't understand the laws. They don't understand how all that relates to Israel. So, of course, you're going to be under a different mindset or understanding. And so sort of like some of us today, right? We grew up in Babylon and we've taken on Babylonian ways. And we have, let's say, a level of selfishness because we grew up in capitalism. And because of that, we have to understand what the Most High is saying, right? So let's get started. So one of the things is, over on Facebook, we be having discussions and we were talking about, I stand at the door and knock, right? And so that's what this is concerning. All right, I stand at the door and knock does not mean what you think it means, right? Now, if you ask a Christian, what does I stand at the door and knock mean? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say something like, God standing at the door of your heart, knocking to come into your heart. Yes or no? Do y'all agree? Most people will say that, right? I stand at the door and knock. Most people are going to say that God is knocking on the door of your heart for you to let him in. Yes or no? Is that what most people would say? But is that what it means? And what I'm going to tell you is, come on now, brother ASF, you moving too quick for me, my brother. You see, I knew you knew it. I knew you knew, brother ASF. You married to a guy in here, so I know you know. Come on now, brother. All right, so knock, knock. Revelation 3:20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. So normally we take this to mean that, through the idea and understanding from a Christian viewpoint, is that God is knocking on the door of your heart. Open up and let him in. But because them folks in the Middle East, not the true people, and the true people are on the continent of Africa, the true people are over there in sub-Saharan Africa, the true people are there in the land of what we would call Israel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go buy my book. Right? I'm gonna plug it. I'm gonna plug my book because that will also help you get an understanding as well. They don't understand because all of these symbols, all of these examples, all of these metaphors have a African mindset, right? So misunderstanding really, but a common understanding is Yeshua looked for an invitation from any responsive individual. He promised to fellowship with whoever would hear his voice and open the door. Although this verse is often used as an invitation to an unbeliever to receive Yahushua as Savior, it applies directly to any church that is apathetic like the Laodicean church. Is this true? Is this true? You will find this definition or something like this definition in Christendom and even in a lot of Israelite communities, but that's not what it means. Because remember, a lot of these symbols, a lot of these metaphors, right? All of these things are based upon cultural tradition. So Yeshua came for Israel, Matthew 15:24, but he answered and said, I'm not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So if Yeshua came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, who is he talking to? Come on now. Since Yeshua came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, we can assume that Revelation 3:20 was concerning them and not the so-called church. Really, you get this perspective and it starts to make sense, right? When you know who the people are, right? And everything starts to align. It's not the church. It's not Jew and Gentile. No, he came for his own, right? And the Bible says his own did not receive him, right? But the Most High did not give up on us, okay? So go to the lost sheep, Matthew 10:5-6. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather who? Once again, to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So again, we see that the target audience is the lost sheep of Israel. Once again, like I said, who is he talking to? What's the context, right? A lot of people don't want to stay in context, right? And this is why the Gentiles have no understanding of what's going on. This is why the Bible says, even for the last days, the wise will understand, but the wicked will not understand. Well, guess what? You have a bunch of people that have awakened to being who they are, which is the true Israelites. Right? In the land of their captivity, come on, family, what happens? They remember themselves, right? So what does that mean? That means you're awakening from sleep. There's a light that clicks off. You start to listen to the voice of your father, but you also get to listen to the voice of what? Your husband, because we're talking about a metaphor, right? Or a symbol of something, or a symbol of a relationship. So what does this truly mean? In Revelation 3:20, we read, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and open the door, I will come into him and dine with him and he with me. Now, when it says anyone here, right, the church makes it everyone. The church makes it Jew and Gentile. But as I've shown you, Yeshua came for Israel. He even told his apostles, don't go talk to the Gentiles. Go talk to my people, the lost sheep. So obviously contextualize, he's still dealing with his people because they're the lost sheep who he came to find. All right, so let's continue. So the chosen people, while this verse is often seen as a general invitation to believers, a deeper examination reveals a powerful message about Yahuwah's relationship with Israel, highlighting his intent to establish a new marriage with his chosen people. Understand this, it is a new marriage that he's talking about, right? We're going to marry our king again, right? Our husband, right? It's a metaphor, right? Or a symbol, however you want to look at it, okay? So marriage covenant. This interpretation draws upon the themes of marriage, covenant law, death, and resurrection, showcasing Yahuwah's unwavering commitment. So what is this dealing with, right? What is the knock, 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 open the door, let him in, right? What is that dealing with? It has to deal with the bride and the groom about to get married. The groom coming to the bride's house and say, look, I'm ready to get married. Are you ready? Come on, I'm telling you. You'll see as I continue. So the Kookoo ceremony. All right. So brother Asaph, you know about this. Apparently you went through this, my brother, right? You got to tell me some more about that. I like to hear about it. So the Kookoo, hopefully I'm saying it correct. This story finds a cultural echo in the Ghanaian Kookoo ceremony, where the groom formally seeks permission to marry his bride by knocking on her family's door. By exploring this parallel, we gain insight into the spiritual significance of Yahuwah's invitation and Israel's response. Okay, so I'm gonna look forward to hearing that from you, brother Asaph, because he went through the Kookoo ceremony, right? And so this is what is happening in Revelation 3. All right, so the original covenant and the divorce of Israel. In the Old Testament, Yahuwah's covenant with Israel is often depicted as a marriage. Jeremiah 31:32 states, "My covenant which they broke, though I was a husband to them," declares Yahuwah. Yahuwah's relationship with Israel was characterized by deep commitment and love. However, Israel's repeated unfaithfulness through idolatry led to a separation. In Jeremiah 3:8, Yahuwah says, "I gave faithless Israel her certificate of divorce and sent her away because of all her adulteries." This act marked the end of the original marriage covenant between Yahuwah and Israel. So what happened was Israel was cheating. Israel was playing a whore, worshiping other gods, bowing before idols, cheating on her husband. And the Most High says, "You got to go." The Most High kicked us out of our home, which is our land, and scattered us amongst the nations as slaves. All right, so we were kicked out the house because as a nation, we was committing adultery. All right, so the Most High divorced us. The legal basis for a new marriage. So a covenant is not only the fact that we were signing a covenant, yes, we're going to obey your laws. When our ancestors signed that covenant as a nation, we were married to Yahuwah. Okay, at Mount Sinai, when that blood was sprinkled on us, that was a marriage ceremony, and we were married to Yahuwah. Come on, we're dealing with symbolism. So according to the Mosaic law, remarriage to a divorced spouse is only permissible if one of the original parties has died. So we could not get remarried. The Most High could not get remarried, right? Because he divorced us. But you could get remarried if the other spouse died, right? Romans 7:2-3 explains, "For the woman who has a husband is bound by the law to her husband as long as he lives. But if the husband dies, she is released from the law of her husband. Therefore, for Yahuwah to enter into a new marriage with Israel, a death was necessary to fulfill the legal requirements of the law. This sets the stage for a transformation rather than a mere renewal of the previous covenant." So a lot of you all state it's a renewed covenant. It is not a renewed covenant. You know why it's not a renewed covenant? Because the parties have died. The groom died and the bride died. So they can get remarried again. All right. It cannot be a renewed covenant because you're renewing something that, and here's the other thing, you got to look at the covenant as a marriage contract, right? This was a marriage contract, right? So the only way for them to get remarried after the divorce happened was somebody got to die. It just so happens the groom died, right? And the bride died. I'm like, so now both of them dead. All right. So now they can be wed to each other again. But guess what? They got to come back to life, right? They got to come back to life. All right. So the death of the Messiah and the death of Israel, the necessary deaths occurred through both the Messiah and Israel. The Messiah, Yahusha, died on a tree, referred to as being hanged on a tree in Acts 5:30. To atone for Israel's sins, which is his bride, which is why he came for Israel. Why? Because she was lost. Why? Because she needed to be helped so he could marry her again because she was covered in filthy and in dirt, right? All right. So in order for him to marry her, he had to come and save her and pay the price for her, right? So to atone for Israel's sins, Isaiah 53:5 prophesied this sacrificial act, but he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. His death satisfied the legal requirement for a what? New covenant. It's a new agreement. Because why? The old parties are gone. The groom, the former groom is dead. The former bride is dead, right? It can't be the same covenant because you got two dead people, but they're going to be resurrected. Okay. So Israel's death. Simultaneously, Israel experienced a death as a nation through exile and dispersion, effectively ceasing to exist as a unified people. Ezekiel 37 depicts this with the vision of the dry bones. Thus says Yahuwah to these bones, surely I will cause breath to enter into you, and you shall live. So the bride, the woman, the nation was dead, but she's going to be resurrected. And the groom was also what? Resurrected. This symbolizes Israel's death and promised resurrection as a nation, enabling them to enter into a new marriage with Yahuwah. The prophetic return and the promise of blessings. So the promise of Israel's return is central to Yahuwah's plan for their restoration. In Deuteronomy 30, 1 through 10, Yahuwah lays out the conditions for Israel's return and blessings that will follow. Return to your husband, Israel. Now it shall come to pass when all these things come upon you, the blessings and the curses, which I have set before you, and you call them to mind among all the nations where Yahuwah your Elohim drives you, and you return to Yahuwah your Elohim and obey his voice according to all that I command you today, you and your children with all your heart and with all your soul, that Yahuwah your Elohim will bring you back from captivity and have compassion on you and gather you again from all the nations where Yahuwah your Elohim has scattered you. So remember, Israel was kicked out of the house, right? Her luggage was thrown on the lawn. You got to go. You can't stay here, but you got to go, right? Israel was scattered amongst the nations. You wanted to mess around, you wanted to worship idols, you wanted to follow the other nations, well, guess what? Go have at it, right? So now you're going to be enslaved. And as we see in Ezekiel chapter 37, we see that Israel was scattered amongst the nations as slaves, and in those nations, she was dead. She was dry. She was brittle. Her bones were turning to dust. Restoration. These verses emphasize Yahuwah's desire to restore his people, gather them from the nations, and bless them abundantly in their own land. The conditions for this restoration are what? Repentance and obedience. Remember what the sister said in the video about returning to your husband? Repentance and obedience, which paved the way for the establishment of a completely new covenant relationship with Yahuwah. As both parties had to die in accordance with the law, this was not a renewal, but a new marriage altogether. This was a new covenant. Think of it in terms of a marriage contract, right? If you're marrying another person, that's a completely new covenant, right? If you're marrying a new person, that's a new covenant. Well, guess what? For all intents and purposes, the groom is new because the groom was resurrected from the dead. The nation of Israel is new because the nation of Israel is rising from the dead, right? So now they can marry each other because according to the law, they couldn't if they both were alive. But now they can be restored, right? So a new covenantal marriage. Jeremiah 31:31 further reinforces this promise of a new covenant. Says Yahuwah, when I will make a new covenant, think of it as a marriage contract, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, this new covenant is entirely new, not merely a renewal of the old, but a life-changing relationship based on Yahuwah's grace and Israel's willingness to embrace his laws written in their hearts. Just as Israel was divorced and had to be remarried after death, the covenant, which is the same as a marriage contract, shows it is a new covenant. The symbology is similar to a man marrying someone who was dead and is now alive again, necessitating the need for a new agreement or covenant of marriage. So it's a new relationship. It's a new marriage. It is a new covenant. It is a new agreement. Even though it has a lot of the same rules, right? When you modify a contract, right, because it necessitated a change, because Yeshua is the high priest after the order of Melchizedek, it necessitated a change, which means we had to go in there and change some things in the contract, right, and sign it again. And when you do that, that's a new agreement, okay? So there was a lot of things that would change, but a lot of stuff that stayed the same. And this contract, what, is a better contract, a better covenant, a better marriage agreement, right? That's what the Bible said, right? because you have grace. It's not as strict as the other one because Israel could not keep up. Israel could not keep up. So the Kookoo ceremony, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. In the Kookoo ceremony in Ghana, the bride's family determines when the groom can return. This is why the groom, Yeshua, did not know when he would return, but the father only. Why? Because his bride had to make herself ready, as stated in Revelation 19:7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give him glory, for the marriage of the Lamb has come, and his wife has made herself ready. Once she was made ready, the groom would come and knock on the door with the proposal of marriage, right? So in the interest of what we're going to talk about in the future, this also ties into the virgins, right? And some had their lamps ready and some didn't have oil in their lamps, right? That was part of the Kookoo ceremony as well, right? And some weren't ready, so some didn't go to the wedding. And I'm not going to get into the rest of it because I don't want y'all sisters mad at me right now. But we'll talk about that in the future, right? So the new marriage of Yahuwah and Israel paralleled with the Kookoo ceremony. Revelation 3:20 symbolizes the initiation of this new marriage. When the Messiah stands at the door and knocks, it mirrors the Ghanaian Kookoo ceremony, where the prospective groom respectfully knocks on the bride's family door to seek permission to marry her. This act is not just about physical entry, but signifies humility, respect, and desire for what? A covenant relationship. Did not the Most High say he's going to restore this? All right, so Brother Asaph said it's like Coke without the K. Coke without the K. How you say that? Coke? Cocoa? Coke? Okay. All right. I'm just going to mess it up today, Brother Asaph. Coke without the K. Okay, coal. Okay, cocoa ceremony, I guess. Like coconut. All right, cocoa ceremony. All right. So prepare our house, John 14:3. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. So once again, Yeshua was talking to Israel. And see, this is the problem that, okay, cocoa. All right, cool. I got it. Cocoa. I like that. So Yeshua says he's going to go and prepare a place for who? For his bride. For his bride. Okay, everybody says cocoa. All right. So Yeshua says, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, you may be also. So he was talking to his bride. Okay. And not the church, even though I don't even like that phrase, church, you know, Chad. That's another invention of the Romans, Chad, right? But anyway, so we had this symbology, and the symbology is showing you the importance of the bride, right? This is why a lot of Christians may disagree with Israelites, because Israelites have returned back to what? The covenant. Israelites have returned back to what? The agreement. Israelites have done what? Returned back to the marriage contract. Israelites have come back and said, I want my husband back. All right. So the church don't know nothing about that. Why? Because the church was never married to Yahuwah. The Christians don't know nothing about that because they were never married to Yahuwah. This is a marriage contract. This is a marriage agreement. It's not just a contract, and it is, because a contract is still a contract, a covenant is still a covenant, but it is a marriage contract. See, that's the difference. All right. So gifts in the cocoa ceremony, the groom brings gifts and expresses his intentions, awaiting the family's acceptance. Similarly, Yahuwah's knocking represents his invitation to Israel to enter into a new covenant. If Israel opens the door, signifying acceptance, they embrace his new marriage, welcoming Yahuwah's presence and blessings into their lives. gathering the bride. This aligns with Ezekiel 36:24-38, where Yahuwah promises to gather Israel back into their land. What? To bring her back home. Cleanse them. Purify her, cleanse her of her fornications and her adultery and all her wickedness, right? And give them a new heart and spirit. What? So they won't sin against me. They won't go whoring again, right? This appears to be where the marriage takes place after Israel is brought back to the land and restored. The imagery emphasizes that the new covenant and marriage occurs once Yahuwah's people have returned, purified, and made ready for this life-changing union. So the marriage seems to appear once we go back home, aka back to the land. That's when the marriage appears to happen, when we go back home, because we were kicked out of the house, right? Which is out of the land. And then we're allowed back into the house, back into the land. And when we go back into the land, Yahuwah says he's going to wash us and cleanse us and purify us. Why? Get us ready for the wedding. He's going to give us a new heart that we won't sin against him. Why? Because we're about to marry the groom. All right. See, this is the symbology of knock, knock, knock. Not that he's standing at the door to knock of your heart. No, he was talking to Israel. It's time for the nation to be restored and remarried to her husband. Israel will not leave Yahuwah again. Additionally, Jeremiah 32:38-40 ties back to the new heart given in Ezekiel, where Yahuwah declares, they shall be my people and I will be their Elohim. The passage continues, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn away from doing them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts so that they will not depart from me. In other words, the Most High say, look, I'm going to make them fear me so they won't cheat on me again. Okay? I'm going to put my law in their hearts so they won't cheat on me again. I'm going to give them a heart of flesh so they won't be cheating on me again. That's why the Most High said, you wanted to be like the nations. You wanted to worship their gods and idols. And the Most High said, you don't understand. That was never going to happen. Because it's a marriage relationship. You mine. And I'm going to talk about that too when I talk about that 400 years and what's happening today and how we were set apart, right? What did that mean, set apart, right? That's holy, right? We were set apart for his service, right? We are his people, which we are the chosen ones. What does that mean? I chose you to be my bride. That's the symbology, right? So when people tell you, y'all don't have no chosen people, they don't understand. That's his bride. See, this is the symbology that we have of a nation of people that he chose for himself. The Most High told Abraham, your descendants are going to be the ones, right? And he's talking about the remnant, the ones who are according to the election of grace. These are my people that I chose to marry, right? These are the ones I'm going to have a relationship with. That's why the Most High tells some of them people, Lord, didn't we do this in your name? And in your name cast out devils and many wonderful works. They say, I ain't know you. There was no relationship there. Okay, I'm just telling you, it's deep. It is deep. And that's why when people try to tell you there's no hierarchy, well, in Christianity, they don't want you to have a hierarchy, because guess what? Obviously, the wife of the king is going to be the queen. And if the queen is the wife to the king and the king rules over everybody, then the queen rules over people too. Come on now. That's why Israel going to be kings and priests and rule over Gentiles. That's why Gentiles is going to be their inheritance. Come on now. That's Bible. I ain't making nothing up. Gentiles is going to be Israel's inheritance. Why? Because Israel is the queen. That's why the Most High says we're going to rule and reign with him. What does it mean we're going to rule and reign with him? Well, guess what? The queen rules with the king. Come on now. Am I lying? Yes or no, family? The queen rules with the king. So the queen, who was a whore who died, is going to be born again, raised from the dead, become a nation again. And she's going to be restored to the king, her husband. And she's not going to cheat anymore because she's going to have a new heart. She's not going to be looking for nobody else. She's not going to be looking to sleep around. She's not going to be running to the Motel 6. You know what I'm saying? She's not going to do that no more because she's going to be a different person. The queen rules with the king. So if anybody tell you that Israel is inclusive of the Gentiles, no, that's not true. That's not true. Because Israel is a people. Israel is a bloodline, right? And I could show you that too. Israel is not Jew and Gentile. Gentiles become citizens of the kingdom, but they're going to be ruled over by the king and the queen. Come on now. Come on, you know it's true. If you can see the symbology, if you can't, that's your business. See, this is the problem with many Christians. Y'all don't go back and look at what we teach y'all. Y'all don't go look at what we show y'all the Bible truly teach. Y'all just go along with your indoctrination. In new marriage, this statement signifies the restoration of the marriage relationship, where Israel becomes Yahuwah's people again and Yahuwah becomes their Elohim. This is the marriage taking place, an everlasting covenant being made, akin to the marriage contract being signed. The symbolism is clear. Israel is brought back, restored, let's say resurrected, and united with Yahuwah in a new and everlasting covenant back in the land, which is back in the house, right? She's brought back home. Because why? Yeshua went away to prepare a place for us, or back in their house. So Israel gets to go back home. The husband says, okay, give me your luggage. I'm bringing you back home from being scattered amongst your lovers. But you know, I had to clean you up first, right? I couldn't take you the way you were because you were used and abused. I'm going to make you a new person. I'm going to make you a new nation. I'm going to put a new heart in you. And for all purposes, you're a new person, a new individual, a new queen, a new woman. And so now I can marry you again because I made you anew. What? Behold, what? All things have become new. All things have become new. All things have become new. Yes, she's a virgin again because she was dead. Now she's resurrected. She's not the same person. She has a new heart. She's a new person. Behold, all things become new. So now I can marry you again. That's what the king says. I can marry you. So here's the thing. See, a lot of our people, we got a lot of people still living like whores, still mixing with the Gentiles, right? Still mixing the bloodlines. And not between you and the Most High. I'm not judging you. But what I'm saying is, this is why the Most High had called us to be set apart. And that's why we couldn't marry other nations, right? Because the contract or the marriage was with that bloodline. And so all of this has a symbolic nature to it that is the imagery of a woman that he chose, right? That's why Israel is the chosen people, because this is my bride. That's why we're chosen. People say, well, you're not better than me. You're not better than me. He says, no, but this is my bride. Now, we'll talk about the other context of that later, right? We'll talk about that later. I don't want to get into it here, but anyway. So acceptance of the proposal of marriage. This cultural parallel highlights the mutual respect and consent essential in both the divine and traditional matrimonial relationships. Just as the bride's family deliberates before granting permission, Israel is given the choice to respond to Yahuwah's call, emphasizing the importance of willing acceptance in the covenant. So if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and forgive their sins and heal their land. Israel has to repent. Israel has to be accepted again, right? And then the Messiah will take his bride back, even though the bride is a completely new person because she has a new heart. Okay. So Israel is chosen. This is the bride that I chose. Okay. Just like when I chose my wife, that's the one I chose to be my bride. Nobody else. That's the one for me. All right. The banquet and the covenant meal. The promise to dine together in Revelation 3:20 further strengthens this parallel. In both biblical and African traditions, shared meals symbolize unity, agreement, and the sealing of covenants. In the Kookoo ceremony, In the Kookoo ceremony, once the proposal is accepted, celebrations often include feasting, signifying the joining of families and the beginning of what? A new relationship. Biblically, the shared meal represents fellowship and acceptance. Isaiah 25:6 speaks of a future time when Yahuwah will have a feast prepared for his people. On this mountain, the Lord Almighty will prepare a feast of rich food for all peoples, a banquet of aged wine, the best of meats, and the finest of wines. This communal dining signifies the restoration of relationship and the joy of covenantal unity between Yahuwah and his people. Now watch this nuance here. I'm going to show you this nuance. Mount Zion, in this context, on this mountain refers to Mount Zion, symbolizing the place where Yahuwah dwells and where his people gather. It often represents Jerusalem and is seen as a place of Yahuwah's presence and authority. So remember, we were kicked out of the land. We was kicked out of Zion, kicked out the house for cheating. But the Most High going to bring us back. And where we going to return to? Back to Zion, right? That's the goal. Back to the home. Back to the king's castle, right? Spiritual blessings or gifts. The Lord Almighty will prepare a feast, conveys an image of a grand celebration. In the ancient world, a feast symbolized abundance, peace, and joy, and often followed a victory. This verse is a metaphor for the spiritual blessings and joy that Yahuwah will provide, the gifts that the groom brings his bride. Everyone's invited, all right? So here's the nuance here, right? Everyone's invited to the wedding supper, right? For all peoples emphasizes the inclusiveness of Yahuwah's kingdom, showing that the celebration is open not just for Israel, who's the bride, but also for Gentile guests, much like the invitation extended in the parable of the wedding banquet in Matthew 22:1-14. In this parable, the king invites guests to a wedding feast, and when the original invitees refuse, he sends his servants to bring in anyone they can find. This represents Yahuwah's universal plan of salvation, where the Gentiles are welcomed into the divine celebration alongside Israel. So picture the symbology, right? Remember, the scripture says that the Gentiles are going to recognize that we are the people of Yah. And they're going to say, I hear that Yah is with you. Can I come with you? Right? Why? Because we are the bride. We are royalty. I told y'all that. We are literally the queens as a nation, which is why we're going to rule over the nations. We are co-rulers with the king, who is the groom, because we are his bride as a nation. And what the Bible says, we're going to rule and reign with Messiah. Right? Now, we got to understand that it is only the remnant Israelites, right? Which is the born again, the selected by grace, the elect according to grace. Those are the ones who are going to be his bride. Those who believe in Yeshua as Savior, those who believe Yeshua is God in human flesh, or Yah in human flesh, those are the ones that's going to be the bride. Because not all Israel is Israel, but it's the people of the covenant. It is the people of the promise. See, a lot of times, a lot of Christians and even some quote unquote supposedly woke Israelites don't understand that when the Bible says not all Israel is Israel, notice the context there is that it's dealing with Israel. And it's talking about who is the true promised seed. And it's the ones according to the promise, which the promise can never change, which is according to election. But it's also those who are of grace. It is the Israelites, a remnant, the remnant Israelites, according to the election of grace. Those are the ones that make up the bride, not the ones who are just bloodline. But they try to take that scripture and apply it to the Gentiles, and that's not the case. Look, if it was the case, I'd say it. If it was the case, if the Gentiles were brides, I'd say it, but they're not. They're not. If you study the scriptures, that's just not the case. It is the bloodline. But some of y'all act like the bloodline don't matter. Some of y'all act like the covenant doesn't matter. But the covenant still matters because it is a marriage contract. Well, you know, Jacobo, we're not under the law. Well, we're not under the law. But it's still a contract, an agreement. And in that agreement, some things are promises that can never be changed. Some things have conditions. If you do this, I'll do that. But some things is a promise. Abraham, I'm going to make you a great nation. Period. That's a promise. It's not going to change. Whether Abraham did his part or not, that was a promise. But Abraham's heart was towards for the Yah. So, you know, hey, he fulfilled the agreement anyway. He also had faith, which fulfilled the agreement. He also sealed that agreement, what? Through circumcision. Come on now. I mean, the analogies are still there. The marriage supper of the Lamb. The concept of the marriage supper of the Lamb further underscores the new covenantal relationship between Yahuwah and Israel. In Revelation 19:7-9, it is written, "Let us be glad and rejoice and give him glory, for the marriage of the Lamb has come, and his wife has made herself ready." So now he can go knock on the door, the Kookoo ceremony. And to her it was granted to be arrayed in fine linen, clean and bright. Remember, she got a new heart. For the fine linen is the righteous acts of the saints, of the chosen, the ones he chose to be his bride. Then he said to me, "Right, blessed are those who are called to the marriage supper of the Lamb." This imagery of the marriage supper symbolizes the ultimate union between Messiah and his people, where the covenant is fully realized and celebrated. So another group of people are being invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb. Well, you can't invite the bride because there is no marriage supper unless there was a bride and the groom married the bride. So who are the people being invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb? Well, it's the Gentiles. It's the Gentile believers. They are invited to the marriage supper, and they can partake in the marriage supper, and they can eat in fellowship and enjoy the union between the king and the queen. Okay? See, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Christianity is confused, right? And some of it was done on purpose, and some wasn't done on purpose, and people are confused. And that's why some people say, well, you know, I agree with so-and-so more than I agree with you. That's fine. But you coming from a Christian mindset. See, this is an African tradition. This is an African mindset. If you go back and watch all my other shows, I've proven that the Bible is an African book. I've proved that over and over and over and over and over and over again that the Bible is an African book. And if you want to understand the symbology in it, you have to understand African traditions. That's why the elect understand. That's why when we woke up to be in Israel, the Bible became alive. It came to life. The Bible came to life when we woke up. See, that's why Christians are in a religion, because the Bible is still sealed to them. It is still sealed, but it's life to us. It's alive. It makes sense. We understand it. Fine linen. The fine linen is one of the gifts that the Messiah gives his bride. We see this in Ezekiel 36:26-27. When Yahuwah gives his people a new heart and spirit, Israel will no longer go astray because she will be given a heart of flesh. Israel would then obey her husband and walk in his laws, statutes, and commandments. And she's not going to cheat no more. See, it's more than just a people saying, here, obey my laws. No, it's a relationship. It's a marriage. When a man goes and chooses the wife that he wants to marry, it's the same thing. Yahuwah lives with his bride. The marriage supper of the Lamb signifies the culmination of Yahuwah's plan to dwell with his people in perfect harmony. Just as the Kookoo ceremony involves a feast to celebrate the new relationship, the marriage supper is a divine celebration of the restoration and unity between Yahuwah and Israel. It represents the fulfillment of all promises where Yahuwah's people are brought into complete fellowship with him, experiencing the fullness of his blessings and love. So Israel is now going to be blessed. Why? Because she's not running out being a whore anymore. She's not sleeping around anymore. She's obeying her husband now. She's following his laws. She's adhering to the contract, the marriage contract, which is a new marriage because both of them died and now they both are resurrected. The nation is resurrected and the groom is resurrected. All in accordance with the law. See, it all makes sense, right? Yahuwah's tabernacle, Leviticus 26:11-12. And I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. And I will walk among you and will be your Elohim, and ye shall be my people. In other words, I ain't gonna abhor you no more because you was being a whore. I ain't gonna abhor you no more because you knew. I'm gonna set my house in the midst of you now. You could come home and I'm gonna live with you now. Ezekiel 37:26-27. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. What? A new marriage contract. I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. And I will place them and multiply them and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forever. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their Elohim and they shall be my people. In other words, I'm going to be the groom. I'm going to be her husband again. Though I was a husband to you, I'm going to be your husband again and you're going to be my bride. And I'm going to live amongst you now. We're going to live in the same house again. I'm bringing you back inside. You're going to live in the land again. Because you're a new bride. You're a virgin again because I gave you a new heart. Behold, all things have become new. You're not tainted anymore. Conclusion. The comparison between Revelation 3:20 and the Kookoo ceremony illuminates the depth of Yahuwah's desire for a new marriage with Israel. Through the lens of this African tradition, we see Yahuwah's actions as those of a loving groom, respectfully seeking to re-enter into a covenant relationship. The deaths of the Messiah and Israel fulfilled the legal requirements for this new marriage. Can we say new covenant? Moving beyond the brokenness of the past. This new marriage is not a mere renewal, but a life-changing union founded on mutual acceptance and love. The act of knocking and the invitation to dine together encapsulate the essence of covenant, respect, willingness, and fellowship. By embracing this invitation, Israel can enter into the harmonious relationship that Yahuwah has long desired, fulfilling his ultimate plan to dwell among his people as promised throughout Scripture. In reflecting upon the Kookoo ceremony, we gain a better understanding of the cultural and relational dynamics at play in Revelation 3:20. It underscores the themes of love, commitment, and restoration that transcend time and culture, revealing the unique ways in which Yahuwah's message speaks to all humanity. So remember, the Most High is restoring the relationship between himself and his people, which is his bride. The Gentiles are invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb to participate in the marriage ceremony, right? Because now he has his chosen bride. That's what it means to be chosen. As I mentioned, I chose my wife. She's my wife. I didn't choose Betty and Becky and Susie and LaShonda or whatever, right? I haven't chosen anybody but my wife. She's the chosen one. And it's the same with Israel. That's why when Gentiles say, well, I become Israel. No, you don't. You don't become Israel because you're not the bride. The bride is a bloodline. Now, what you do become, and we could talk about that in another thing. We could talk about that in another, but you're a guest to the wedding, right? And this is why the Most High says he's going to restore his people. He's going to bring us back to the land. He's going to bring us back into the house. He's going to give us a new heart. He's going to clean us up. Behold, all things become new. It all makes sense, right? It all makes sense. So what we got to understand is that the Most High has a bride, if you want to look at it that way, because some of y'all don't like the idea that we're chosen. But all that means is that he chose his bride. We are his bride. And we are the ones that he's going to marry. And in essence, we become queens, right? The king and the queen. And the queen rules over the other people, the other subjects. I mean, come on. It's all symbolic. But you get the relationship being revealed. That's why they said, Lord, will you at this moment restore the kingdom to Israel? Well, it's not for me to know. It's for the Father. And the Father knows that the bride got to make herself ready. So then the bride makes herself ready. And guess what? The groom come knocking on the door. You better open up and let him in. Y'all know that song. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. You better open up that door. Y'all know. That's for you old folks, right? I know you young folks don't know that song. But you better open the door. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's knocking to come in your heart. No. He's coming to get his bride. Because she thought she was going to marry somebody else. She thought she was going to sleep around. She thought she was going to be whoring. But he said, no, that was never going to be. That was never going to be. You mine. I told you all that. I told y'all that before. You mine. See, and that's the difference. And that's why we got different understandings. Because once you understand the covenant is what? Forever. Why is the covenant forever? Because the marriage is what? Forever. Till death do us part, right? Come on now. Till death do us part, right? An everlasting covenant. We're going to be married forever to the Most High. That's the Bible. You can't tell me I'm wrong. Go ahead and do the studies yourself. But if you want to stick with Eurocentric Christian doctrine, you go right ahead. If you want to believe everybody the same, go right ahead. Because if everybody was the same, guess what? Then everybody suffered them Deuteronomy 28 curses too, right? But we didn't. How you going to recognize Israel? Them curses going to be on you forever, right? Come on now. How you going to recognize that bride? She got beat down, tore up. She went into slavery. She got persecuted by the nation. And guess what? What you think the king going to do when he find out what you did to his bride? What he say he going to do? I'm coming back and I'm going to judge the nation for what they did to my people, Israel. I'm going to judge the nation for what they did to my bride. They're not going to exist anymore. And you know what he said? He said, you know what nations that's going to survive? It's the ones who didn't do anything to my nation, Israel, or my bride. How you going to mess with the king's bride and not get punished for it? See, you gotta get the symbology. Understand that what we're dealing with today is that woman who went a whoring, but she's being restored. What we're dealing with today is Revelation 12 as well, as I started off, and the dragon is chasing the woman, which is bride. What we're dealing with is the coming increased persecution against the nation of Israel, the real Yahudim, the ones who were enslaved, the ones who went into captivity worldwide. The dragon's coming against us. Why? Because we woke up. And because we woke up, that means we're going to rule with the king. And because we woke up, the nation that does not serve you, what? Shall perish. Oh, they know what time it is. And that's why they're sending out these notes and these letters and threatening us and saying, y'all going to be slaves. No, we're not going to be slaves, because guess what? Our curse is over. You're going to be the slave. The judgment has reversed. I'm going to tell you this. Some of y'all are scared of Trump. Trump might allow his people to come after us. But guess what? That's going to open the door for their persecution. That's going to open the door for their slavery. See, when Trump goes ahead and support them people in the Middle East, and then Russia and China gets involved, and Cuba and Venezuela, and they all come to this land. Guess who's going to captivity? It ain't going to be us. Guess who's going to be fleeing in the wilderness? It's going to be the bride. That's why the Most High say, don't fear. I got you. That's why the Most High say, don't fear. I got you. You my bride. I'm going to protect you. Now, that's the ones who are righteous, the ones who are walking uprightly, right? This the remnant according to election of grace. Romans 11. Go read it. Because we going home soon. I told y'all they're going to push us out. I told y'all. Now, let me ask you this before I go. Give me a yes or no. Does it look like we about to get pushed out, family? I just want to know what you see. If you don't know, say I don't know. Say maybe. Yes, no, maybe. I mean, to me, it looked like we about to get pushed out. I mean, look, ain't going to have no jobs. They're going to increase persecution. They got Project 2025. You ain't going to be able, they're already taking people houses. I'm just saying. How you think we're going to survive this if we stay here? I'm just saying, I don't know. We're going to find out, right? Because some of y'all are like, oh, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay here. But the Most High say, flee so these plagues won't fall on you. I'm going to tell you this. Well, I guess I say that. So let me say this. So I was reading the Apocalypse of Abraham. And in the Apocalypse of Abraham, the Most High says, look, Abraham, your descendants, that's the ones I chose for myself. I'm going to keep them for myself. But I'm going to deal with these nations. I'm going to judge them. And the Most High says, see all these people? I'm going to get, and I'm paraphrasing. I'm going to get revenge on them through my people. Remember I read that to y'all from some other scriptures? That's in the Apocalypse of Abraham as well. He says, see these other ones? I'm going to get revenge on these nations through my people. The interesting thing is, and I don't know if this is how it's going to completely work out, but the interesting thing is that it says that the way that they're going to get revenge, the way they're going to get revenge is through the plagues. The way they're going to get revenge is by the plagues. Now, my question is, does that mean that Israel's going to have the ability to release plagues like Moses did? I don't know. Good question, right? Good question. So, thank y'all. So, if y'all want to support us, you can go to tellministries.com, go to the donations page. You can still give through Cash App, $TOTW7101. You can give through Ko-fi. You can become a Patreon member and also PayPal. So, you know, if y'all like this, please support a brother. Y'all been missing. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all been missing. I was like, y'all don't love a brother no more. I'm like, Jacob be putting in that work. Yeah. I said, y'all must not love me no more. Did I make y'all mad? But look, fam, that's all I got. You know, I will say this. Don't worry about what's coming. Because something is coming, but we out right now. Like I said, it ain't going to be easy. Because these trials and tribulations are called to be. But according to the scriptures, we going into the wilderness to be safe from the dragon. That's what I see. And guess what? If I'm wrong, who cares? Because like I say, I'm not a prophet. You ain't going to get me like y'all getting Celeste. Y'all ain't going to get me like y'all getting other people on, you know, out there. Y'all ain't going to get me because I ain't no prophet. I ain't never claimed to be no prophet, even though I got some good, I've been pretty accurate. I don't claim to be a prophet. I'm a teacher. Let the word speak for itself. If it come to pass, it comes to pass. Here's what I see. Oh, yeah. And let's not forget Deagle 2025. I'm just saying, y'all think they're ignoring Deagle report? Y'all better watch out. 2025 going to be hell. 2025 going to be hell. I told you. What did I tell you? 2024 was going to be pain. But 2025 going to be hell. Don't get it twisted. And see, I'm going to tell y'all this, right? Everybody better learn to get along and look out for one another. Watch each other's back. Keep your head on the swivel. Brothers, you watch your sisters. Sisters, you keep your eyes on your brothers. Everybody watch each other back. Make sure you carry if you don't carry. Because I'm telling you, these people crazy. They already been hanging us from trees. Y'all know that. Y'all been seeing all that? They've been hanging us from trees. They've been pew-pewing the sisters. I'm like, a brother be tired. A brother be tired. But guess what? What do you think the Most High is? He tired. He said, well, look, I can't let this continue. Go ahead and read 2 Ezra 15. He said, I can't let this continue. They keep doing this stuff to my people, my bride. Oh, don't get it twisted. All hell's about to break loose. Don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you what I'm saying. If I'm wrong, you better pray I'm wrong. I'm not a prophet. I'm just telling you what your Cobra sees. It's about to get rough. And see me, I'm not blaming Trump. Because be honest with you, persecution increased under Obama. Persecution increased under the Democrats. It's just that the Republicans are going to take away any kind of protection that you may have thought you had, right? So we got, us and the Most High. We watch each other's back. And I'm going to tell you this, if you see a sister getting jumped, you better jump in. I'm telling you that. If you see a sister getting jumped, you better jump in. I'm jumping in if I see a sister getting jumped. I ain't going to let it happen. You want to start something? There will be something. I'm sorry. I'm not going to let it happen. All right, fam. Love y'all. If you like, share and subscribe. If you like what we do, please like, share, and subscribe. And, please support the ministry. And like I said, thank y'all who bought the book. I really appreciate the support. And please give me a review over at Amazon on, if you liked it or not. So far, I got all 5s, people seem to like it very much. And, and that's the other thing, if you're going to say you disagree with me and haven't read my book, please don't tell me you disagree with me. You haven't even read my book. So how are you going to disagree with me, right? You don't even know my position. So I'm going to leave it at that, fam. So thank y'all. Love y'all with the love of Messiah. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. And please support the Dry Bones Project.